we are back again. I am happy to... I don't guess I can see you all. I'm happy that you can hear us, and you can see us if you're watching on YouTube. I'm happy to see you all.
Thank you.
And we have a great story ahead for you all, and a story of encouragement. With us today is Mr. Billy Eldridge, and he is the Vice President of Operations at the Nashville Rescue Mission. So thank you for being here today, Billy.
My pleasure. It's great to be here.
Thank you.
Are we saying a family connection, or we're going to let that slide?
I'm always about saying it. He might not want to own me, but it's actually my uncle. So thank you for coming.
I've got a wonderful nephew.
He says that on the camera.
I was going to say, how much did you pay him walking up here?
He's twice the man I was at his age.
So we're going to jump right into it because this is a great story. So Billy, why don't you just start with your story here?
Okay. I'm from South Louisiana. Just grew up, normal childhood, pretty much. And South Louisiana is like another country. At least it was when I was growing up. And alcohol, drugs was pretty prevalent. And anyway, I started using recreationally, probably at about 12 or 13. And did that, and I mean, I went to school, graduated high school, went to college. I didn't finish college, but went to work. I was always a hard worker, always made good money. I ran the television department for a thoroughbred racetrack. So anyway, I was pretty successful, making, $60,000, $70,000 in the 80s, which is fairly good money. And I started smoking crack when I was about 31, and in 3 years lost everything. My home, my vehicles, my job, my family. That process, if you cared about me, I brought pain into your life. I was just consumed by the drug. And I came to Nashville. My mother had moved up here, and my aunt went to church with, back then we called them counselors, a counselor at the Rescue Mission. And my mom had been bugging me to come up here to get some help. And I just resisted till I had no other opportunities, no other open doors. I'm about 225 now. I was like 140 pounds when I got to Nashville.
Wow. Yeah.
So came into the mission, and I didn't come to find the Lord. I came to try and find a way to be happy and not be high. I knew high was killing me, and it was hurting everyone that I said I loved. So went to the Nashville Rescue Mission, and was there a couple of weeks, and just could notice with the staff and some of the men that were in the program, there was a light about them, an attractiveness about them. They said they used to do the things I was doing, and they didn't do them anymore. They were happy. I mean, they were genuinely happy. So didn't even know if God was real. I just called out to him, and no bells or whistles went off. But he met me. He saved me. Slowly, he started to give me an understanding of his word, and went through the classes, finished the mission. The program was 3 months then. And the mission had a transitional house, which is the mission's version of a halfway house that they offered to some of the people that graduated. And I came on staff. Had originally planned just to work 6 months, and here we are now, 21 years later. Went to the mission to try and find a way to be happy and not be high, and God just gave me a life. I wasn't a man. I wasn't I found purpose for my life at the mission. I had destroyed everything. My wife divorced me 3 weeks after I got into the program, and it took over a year, but he restored my marriage. My little girl was 3 years old when I was in the program, and I knew I was never going to have anything to do with her. And being able to raise her, she's 25 now. She's got a little boy. She's pregnant, fixing to have a little girl. God restored everything that I destroyed, and I didn't. When I was in the program, I didn't even pray that way. I mean, I did everything a man could do to destroy his marriage, except beating her. I was never physically abusive, but everything else, I mean, that was too hard for God to restore that. And when he did that, I mean, it just blew me away. I remember praying when I was in the program that the Lord put a good man in their lives to be a good father to my daughter and a good husband to my wife, never dreaming that it would be me.
Wow. So going back a little bit, when you were still in Louisiana, what was the decline or the progression from recreational drugs to hard drugs and the crack for you? What was that journey?
I mean, it was almost immediate. I did a little marijuana, I did a little pills, I drank, but I was still functioning. I mean, it was more than just weekends, but it wasn't constant. Once I started smoking crack, it was constant. The other drugs just went aside, and the addiction to the crack just took over. And
was that influence from your friend group at the time, or just something that you fell into on your own?
I don't really know how I started, but I would use much more socially before. When I started with crack, it was isolating, hiding, being selfish. You didn't want to share. It was consuming. I always say, if I ever serve the Lord the way I serve that drug, I mean, I'll be on fire. You're going to see me on TV.
Well, we're going to see you all over the world on this podcast now.
No, but I mean, stay up 3 days reading the Bible. I did that,
Yeah.
Run out of gas on the way to church. I never did that. With money in your pocket. I've done that to get that drug. Didn't want to put $20 more in the tank.
Because it would take away from your.
Yeah. I mean, I experienced it. I did it. But when I talk about it, and when I think back, it was like with somebody else. I mean, it was crazy, the things that I put ahead of my family. I can't believe I did it. I know I did it. Yeah. I just can't believe the lie that I bought into.
And you said your sister lived here?
My sister did, but my mom moved up here.
Okay.
And my mom actually drove to Louisiana a couple of times just to try to get me to come back here to get help. She, my dad and everybody else was telling her, he's going to wind up dead. Somebody's going to kill him. I just remember waking up one morning and she's on the side of the bed, just tears rolling down her face, wanting me to come up here to get some help. And I'm fine, Mom. It's all right. And she knows better, She just worried about her boy.
How long was that, like, in between where you were and when you finally came? Like, how many years was that?
I know it wasn't quite, it was probably about 2.5 years of using.
Okay.
Is that from starting the recreational or?
No, that's just the crack.
Okay.
Yeah. In 2.5 years, I had no open doors. I mean, the more anyone would try and help me, the more they enabled me to run further. So they weren't doing it intentionally, but they were prolonging what God wanted to do. You know, and I see that every day where I work. You're hungry, I'll feed you. I'm not giving you any money.
So when you came to Nashville, your mom brought you up here. Were you living with her? Were you on the streets, or where were you when you came here?
When I first came up, I stayed with her, but not very long. Within a month, I had went to the mission. I worked a little bit, and yeah, I was out of control. So went to into the program, and the program for me, I say this all the time to the guys and the girls that are in the program now. You know, they're antsy and want to leave, and the other thing, it's kind of like high school. Just in the midst of it, it's no fun. But I mean, once you finish it, you look back on it with, you know, you can see where you were at, what you were doing, and what God did. Our days, we live our days one day at a time, so it's hard to see progress. But when I think back to a year ago, what I was doing, or for the guys in the program a month ago, you know, what they're doing now, God just, I get to see them at work, and oftentimes they don't see it in themselves, and I didn't see it in me. God put some really good men in my life, and women, and it just blessed me. There's nothing like this in South Louisiana, nothing like Nashville Rescue Mission. There's some smaller ministries and whatnot, but nothing like Middle Tennessee.
Addicts are, once you get clean, it's one day at a time staying clean. But what was your trigger? What caused you to relapse? Or was it just, what was there a trigger?
I don't remember that. I would say selfishness, the flesh.
Well, after the first time, did you have a mindset of staying? Or was it like, no, once I'm done, I'm going back to Louisiana? That's where everyone's at, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, I got on a plane day after I graduated. So I was planning on going back home. But after going through the second time, I had my mind set up I wasn't. I don't have any using experience up here. You know, all of my friends are from work or from church or from South Louisiana was Egypt for me. Now I feel like I could go back there now. But initially, I obviously wasn't strong enough. All of my friends down there are friends from using.
Yeah.
All the places. I know where to go. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that was Egypt for me.
So when you moved back to Louisiana and you relapsed, what caused you to come back? Did you just do that on your own, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just, I knew the Lord when I relapsed. Something happened that wasn't happening the first time. Just scripture pounding in my head. God didn't make you for this. God didn't make you to live this way. He freed you from this stuff, you know. So, yeah.
When you look back now, can you see God in your life or directing you or carrying you or keeping you safe while you were using before you came to know Him? Before you came to Nashville the first time, maybe?
There are friends that didn't use near as bad as me that are no longer here. I put myself in positions I should not have come out of. I mean, I remember thinking this, and I don't remember how a person could think this, but I remember going to get crack with no money, thinking that dying is not going to be as bad as not scoring.
Wow.
You know, That's insane. With a beautiful wife and a gorgeous little girl at home, and daddy's out on the streets doing that stuff. Just nuts. Crack cocaine is as close as you can come to holding the devil in your hand. I mean, I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want to have nothing to do with anybody that wants anything to do with it. I couldn't say that when I first finished the program. I mean, after years, you come to a point where you hate it because of the way you worshiped it. I hate that stuff.
Yeah. So when someone finishes the program, what's the next step for them? Is there placement opportunities that you all do, or are they pretty much on their own to do what they want?
No. Everyone who graduates, there's 40, we call it the transitional house, but there's 40 rooms. They're like nice efficiency apartments that a person can go into up to 18 months. It's the mission's version of a halfway house. They don't have to, but they have that opportunity. If they do stay with us, there's continued drug testing, counseling. They have to have a rising bank account or be paying restitution or court costs or back child support. They need to be progressing. And yeah, like I said, they can stay there up to 18 months. And they're, in some cases, if someone's got a large amount of debt, they can stay even longer. So the program can be, multiple years.
Do you make them pay like a rent or anything like that just to show like that kind of thing?
The mission doesn't charge for anything.
That's awesome.
That's great.
That is great.
What about requirements? Are there requirements to get in, for someone to get into the program?
You have to be fairly self-sufficient. I mean, you got to be able to climb the stairs. You got to be able to get in the top bunk. Willingness is it. I mean, it's voluntary. Every now and then I'll hear a guy say, "This place is like prison." Burns me up. It's nothing like prison. The door's locked from the outside. You can get up at any time and go. You can't get back in. Thousands and thousands of people give $20 a month to the Lord so that you can take advantage of this opportunity. The Lord had that kind of impact on their life to bless somebody like me when I didn't deserve it.
And how many people get into the program? How often do you start?
We do intakes every day. If you come, usually Monty has some phone interviews or whatnot ahead of time if they're coming, especially if they're coming from a distance. Yeah, they do intake Monday through Friday every day. There's about 60, 65 men in the program proper. Another 30, something like that, in the transitional house. So it's running, I guess, about 100 on the men's side, probably around 40 on the women's side.
Right now, the men and the women are all under one roof, aren't they?
They are.
Does that draw any concern, or do y'all feel like y'all have that pretty well under control?
We do. We put a lot of time into planning, and this is not the first time we've done this. About 8 years ago, there was a remodel of it might have been even longer than that. But anyway, the women came over, and we just moved a lot of our storage we lost. We moved the men's covered program to another floor, and we're able to accommodate the women. It's different. It's kind of cool. You don't see many. Wasn't able to see the children and babies at the men's campus very much. But yeah, we're building a $20 million new facilities for the women and the children.
That's awesome.
And yeah, we're looking forward to it.
So women who have children, bring them with them. They don't get taken to by child services or anything like that?
No. If the mother's able to take care of her children.
So what other programs does the Nashville Rescue Mission have? I mean, they have this recovery program. What else?
They have, there's another program called Pathways, which is back in 2010, 2011, the quickest growing population at the rescue mission were not having to deal with, it was for economic reasons, not addiction or life choices. So it was right after the crash. A lot of people lost their jobs. So we came up with a program called Pathways, which is it's only 3 months in length. Someone doesn't, if they're only there for economic reasons, then they have to have a full-time job. They're allowed to stay 3 months, same place, same beds, free of charge. And they need to be working towards getting out. So they'll have a caseworker and have to have a rising bank account, have to have an exit plan.
We've done work here at our church, and I know many other churches have also with Room in the Inn, bringing people in. Is that for men and women? Is that program for men and women, or just men?
Room in the Inn, I think it's for both, but I'm not sure. That's not part of the rescue mission. They are neighbors, and they're a wonderful ministry. But I
thought that was another outreach of the mission, the Nashville Rescue Mission.
No.
Oh, well, there you go. Learn something.
Yeah, we'll house 750 people tonight under our roof.
Wow.
Well, men, women, and children.
But that's not just people that are in that program, though. That's the people in the program, including the homeless that are in Nashville.
Right. I mean, if you were asking about programs, we're a large homeless shelter with a life recovery program as part of it. So there's 400 men and another 170 women and children staying with us that are just there for emergency services. Place to sleep, place to eat, clothes, toiletries. There are case managers. We try and do job placement, work with them to get housing. We're trying to help them move out. If they don't need a life recovery program, I just try to connect them with other services, housing, medical, IDs.
Someone's homeless, they come to the mission. What percentage of those people want help, and what percentage, that might be a hard question. I know it's a guess maybe, but how many of those people just, their life is the street, they don't want to get off, but they come in to get out of the cold or get a meal or something?
I would say that's low. I don't think anybody grows up choosing to, I'm going to grow up and go live at the mission. Certainly there are a small population that are not trying to do anything to change their situation, but a large part, they're a lot of them have little jobs, daytime jobs, or whatnot.
Because I think that may be a misconception that a lot of people have, that, because you may see the same person on the street corner you pass every day asking for money or something, and you think none of these people who are homeless want help. They just are going to ask for a handout and stay where they are, but it's not really like that.
I wouldn't. If you're saying how many people wouldn't like to change them circumstances, I'm saying that percentage is very low. Mm-hmm. There's obviously a large portion of them that are, I don't want to say, for lack of a better, I was trapped. If I'd had enough money, I would have smoked until I died.
Wow.
I mean, I would have. All of my resources were spent on that drug. And if I could have, I would have, smoked till I died, and I wasn't far. I didn't have much time left. So addiction is powerful. When people come to the end of their rope, it's different for a lot of people. Yeah. And some people don't make it out.
I know you said that you still do devotions there. As far as the program, what is like a day? What does that consist of? I know it's kind of probably tailored to
your basic day in life recovery program is you wake up at 6, eat breakfast at 6:30. You're in morning devotion from 7:30 to 8. You're in group counseling from 8 to 8:30. If you don't have a high school diploma, you're in HSC classes from 9 to 11. If you do have a high school diploma, you're going to spend 4 hours of chores a day in some support of the ministry, either in the kitchen or cleaning or tutoring or on the grounds. So 9 to 11, if you do have your high school diploma, you'll be on chores. And then you'll be in core class. Well, then you'll eat lunch, 11 to 11:30. You'll be in core class from 12 to 2. Then another 2 hours of lunch, say from 2 to 4. After that, you'll eat dinner. At 5, you'll have evening chapel at 6:30. And your free time is 7:30 to 9:30, lights out. So they've got a 16-hour day. Yeah. It's
definitely staying busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Club Med.
But that's to give them some structure, right? Is that what it's designed for?
Yes, and also in all of that, there's one-on-one counseling. There's, if you don't have a high school diploma, you'll have HSC. That's huge for some of our men and women to be able to get that. And we've even had people in the community come and take classes to. We're certified to be able to do the classes and give them out. There are computer classes, there are CDL classes, there's library, and there's job training, job readiness. They're busy.
Now, is that a Monday through Friday schedule, or is that 7 days a week?
That's Monday through Friday. On the weekend, they'll still have a devotion. They'll still have a chapel at night, and they'll still have a chore on one of those days. They'll be off either Saturday or Sunday. And the longer you go through the program, the more privileges you get. The first month, you're restricted to property. Next month, you'll have a 3-hour weekend pass. Next month, 6 hours, and so on. The further you get, the more privileges you get. And then after, usually from Gateway to the first 6 phases is about 7 months. So at that point, you can extend in the program proper, or you can graduate and then go into the TH or go home. And that's, I would say that percentage is about 60-40, usually 60% return to where they're from, or their wives or their families, and get back to work. And about 40% will go into the transitional house.
So those that extend into the program at the end of that 7 months, how long are they allowed to stay? Does it vary by person and circumstance, or is it kind of a set thing?
It does. If a person feels like they're not ready, when I went through the program the second time, it was a 3-month program. I stayed in the program 4 months. I didn't feel I was ready to get back to work and have money in my pocket. And I wanted to make sure this was the last time.
Right.
So that doesn't happen very often. It's not very often that someone's not ready to graduate upon graduation.
Yeah. And I think, obviously, the people running this program have learned extending from 3 months to 6 months, that kind of thing, too.
Yeah. Well, the program's actually 2 years. There's there's a celebration at the end of 7 months, but to finish the program, you're going through the program and you're not working. It's to put the things that you learn in the first 7 months into practice.
Gotcha.
So it's actually, they recommend at least a 5-month stay in the transitional house. So it's a year-long program. That's what I should have said.
Well, that's awesome.
Like volunteers and stuff like that. Do volunteers just contact you to come in? Is there special times? I know like holidays like Thanksgiving. I know that.
Yes.
What's that process like as far as like a volunteer wanting to come in and help?
A lot of it used to be done on the phone now.
Okay.
You can just go to our website. They have a tab on there, Get Involved.
Okay.
You click on that. You fill out a little questionnaire. And because we have the women and children in the building, now we're doing a background check.
Gotcha.
So we run the background check. We contact you back and then open up the calendar to you.
Okay.
You click on the day you want, time you want. Just come on in. And that's 365 days a year.
And what are some of the things people can volunteer to do?
Serve meals, prepare meals, sort clothing, sort toiletries, paint, cut grass. We'll put you to work.
I know that firsthand.
Yeah, I'm the vice president of operations, so maintenance is under that. Volunteerism is under that. Gifts in kind, in other words, physical donations, all the clothing, food, all of that is in operations. Work therapy, which is the work that the clients do under their program. What else? I finished. Kitchen ministries are both under operations, food service. So all the physical activities of the mission fall under operations. I say that the mission exists to spread the gospel. That's our purpose. And the operations team tries to take care of all the physical necessities of life. You know, the water, the lights, the food, the clothing, the toiletries, serving all those things so that the other more important process of evangelism can take place. We want to be the employer of choice, charity of choice, and the provider of choice. We want to clean the building in such a way that people want to come and stay at the mission. We want to cook the meals in such a way that people want to come and eat at the mission in order to have an opportunity to spread the gospel.
Now, is this owned or run by the city of Nashville? Or is it a private organization?
It's a nonprofit private organization.
Okay. And so is that how you can be Jesus focused and gospel focused when doing that?
Yes. Citizens and corporations and churches that send their money. And I didn't realize that he went to Parkway. Because, I mean, I've been to this church several times. The first job I had at the mission was a driver. I would pick up donations. And we've been picking up pies from Parkway Baptist Church at Thanksgiving forever. Y'all cook an awesome amount of pies. Well, that's what we serve for Thanksgiving is homemade pies because Parkway and 2 other churches that's their thing.
I got another question for people that finish the program, decide to go home or wherever they decide to go. Are there resources or things you try to give them to take with them? Or if they're leaving, let's say they're going to another city or another state, do you try and connect them with something in the place they're going?
Now, there's a huge focus while they're in the program about church. The men and women who are successful when they leave the mission are in church. They're in church and they're working. I credit all of my success to getting in church and getting busy. Brother Overton was a teacher when I was in the program. That's what he said. You get in church, boy, and get busy. don't tell that preacher that you want to preach. You sweep the floors. You be faithful with what God gives you, and more will be added.
Great advice. Great
Awesome.
advice.
The new facility, is it going to be close to where you are now, or is it in the same?
The women's campus is about 4 miles from the men's campus.
Okay.
It's going to be built on the exact same place where it was.
Okay.
So we were able to scrape the ground and start new.
That's awesome.
They did a renovation. I tell you that, and when they were deciding what to do, whether to renovate it again or start from new. And I'm operations, so I'm the one. Well, my department's the one that has to work in the kitchen and fix the plumbing. And I said, I'll bring half them women and children to my house while they build it if we can scrape the ground. We want to. I mean, what we had was wonderful at its time, but just so grateful. The generosity of this community just blew me away. I mean, you just can't believe that a ministry of that size, can be supported by this community. They're just generous. I mean, just isn't another word. The effect that Jesus has in the life of people to give is just amazing. And, it makes you want to be that type of person.
To bring it back to your personal story a little bit, when you finally came through the program the second time, everything stuck and you were working the program, what was the reconciliation like with your wife and your daughter? And how long kind of a two-part question, how long did that take? And did she know Jesus at that time?
Yes. One of the things that first attracted me to my wife was she was a believer. I wasn't. If she wasn't a believer, she never could have got past, my past. Right. It took some time. And after I went through the second time, I knew I wasn't going back to Louisiana. And she's a beautiful Cajun girl, never lived anywhere else her whole life. And it took a year. But she decided to come up and to bring. My little girl was so young, she didn't know who Daddy was. I'm very grateful for that. Those are the best things in my life. I mean, my wife is twice the man I am. Yeah, she's a good girl.
You mean that in a compliment, in a good way?
Definitely. I made much more money than her, and she had to hide the milk money. She had to hide the babysitting money. I was a ball and chain to my family. Thank God she carried us.
What advice would you give to someone who may hear this, who's struggling through addiction, anywhere along that struggle, where they're just starting out, or they're in the middle of the deepest, darkest hole, or they're trying to come out and they're struggling, going back and forth?
God can do anything. Anything. God can do anything. I know. I remember feeling hopeless, and I remember feeling, how strong the draw was, the addiction was, and I felt trapped. I felt I would never get out, but God made a way. And there's nothing special about Billy. He does it over and over. I get to see it happen every day. God will not only, God will give you a reason to live. You'll find I had no meaning in my life. There was no purpose to it before. Yeah, I was busy. I had nice stuff. I had money. But just no purpose. I love going to work every day. Love coming home every night. God has been very, very good to me. And he will do his part if you do yours. Anyone seeking help, they can call me, 615-584-3166. Don't edit that out. And I'll plug you in with Monty. We'll get you some help.
And what's also the website for the Nashville Rescue Mission?
It's NashvilleRescueMission.org.
So reach out to them if you need help, but also if you are looking to serve and help, reach out. And great opportunity to show the love of Jesus to people who are struggling and trying to get help. So, Billy, thank you so much for coming. This
Absolutely.
is an absolute great story, and we appreciate you sharing that with everyone. And you tell it well. I know it wasn't easy, maybe sometimes in the past, but man, it's a great story and a great example for others who are going through the same thing.
Absolutely.
And if someone else is hearing that story, and they're going through the same things, that there's always someone else out there that's doing the same thing you're doing. So it's not just you.
I didn't know if God was real. So I cried out to him, and then the guy that led me to the Lord told me to start reading in the New Testament, Matthew, read through Revelation, then go to Genesis and read through the whole Bible. That's what I started doing. I never read the Bible before. And God gave me a love for words that I never had before, in particularly his word. And I remember one of the scriptures was, you'll know my disciples by the fruit that they bear. For a good tree can't produce bad fruit. Bad tree can't produce good fruit. And I've seen no fruit in my life. I'm in Music City. There are guys in the program that could sing wonderful or play instruments. So that became a point of prayer for me. And I started writing poems. So anyway, I just wanted to share the first one I wrote. It's called Mission Man. And it's just a poem of gratitude to the place and the men he used to bring me to faith. From Lafayette to Nashville, I traveled one summer day. A broken man inside, I'd been crushed in every way. Satan turned me upside down and emptied all my joy. This man that stands before you was then a frightened little boy. He ravaged through my life and stole everything of value that I cherish. To my beautiful daughter and loving wife, I was branded a failure doomed to perish. From Nashville to Pleasant View, I traveled one summer day. I came to meet 3 mission men who helped others find their way. They told me when to work, and they told me when to pray. They told me what to eat. They told me where to lay. They said they too were lost, but it was a long, long time ago. They planted a seed inside of me. God caused that seed to grow. They sparked a flame within my heart that burns brighter every day. Where once was empty darkness is filled with life today. I'm grateful to these mission men who all 3 act as one, for uniting me with my Father and with his precious Son. I thank God for the roses, Floyd Boggs and Clay King. Why aren't you men smiling? Can't you feel our spirits sing? I praise God for the Nashville mission and for putting these men on board. For when this world is over, great is their reward. Now wake up in Dorm 1. Lights on in old Dorm 2. Brothers, I pray you realize that theirs is our mission too. God's called us to be a witness, to continue the work these men began. I pray the day I meet my Lord, he calls me a mission man. From Nashville to who knows where, I'll travel one fall day. I know not where I'm going, but I know Jesus is the way.
Wow.
That is awesome.
It's amazing.
We need to get a framed copy of that and put that on the shelf. That needs to fill one of the bookshelves here.
Yes, for sure.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to Ryan.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you
great.
for sharing that.
So we end every episode with a Bible verse, and I think we'll go with the one that you shared already.
How about 2 Samuel 22:7? In my distress, I called to the Lord, and I cried to my God, and he did hear my voice out of his temple, and my cries did enter his ears.
Just like that, God is bigger than we can imagine, but he created us, and he hears us when we speak to him, and there's nothing better than that. So we thank him for that. And
Right.
Billy, we thank you. Thank you for coming and sharing, and it's an awesome story, and I am so glad that God chased after you, and you turned and found him as well.
Right.
I am too.
All right. Well, make sure you like and subscribe. You can reach out to us podcast at parkwaybc.net, and we will see you guys again next week. Thank you for listening to GPS to God. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe wherever you happen to listen or watch. And make sure you turn on the notifications so you know when new episodes air.